It was a rainy Thursday afternoon when Emma glanced at the clock for what felt like the 100th time. She was sitting at her kitchen table, a warm cup of tea cradled between her hands, staring out the window as the rain streaked the glass. The sound of raindrops tapping on the roof was comforting yet restless, echoing the unease she felt in her chest. Today wasn't an ordinary day. Today, her stepson, Luke, was coming over after school, and she knew he was struggling. She didn't know exactly what to expect. But something told her it would be more than just a simple conversation. Luke had always been a quiet boy, introspective and polite. But recently, Emma noticed a subtle shift in him. He seemed heavier, burdened with worries he didn't share. The usually cheerful jokes and easy smile had faded, replaced with nervous glances and hesitations. Emma cared deeply for him, not just as her stepson, but as someone she wanted to guide, someone she wanted to support in the ways she could. She had a feeling today would test her in ways she hadn't anticipated. The doorbell rang, startling her out of her thoughts. Emma rose, smoothing the wrinkles of her blouse as she opened the door. There he stood, drenched from the rain, his school bag slung over one shoulder, and his hair sticking to his forehead. His eyes looked uncertain, almost pleading. "Hey, Emma," he said softly, his voice barely louder than the rain outside. "Hey, Luke. Come in," Emma said warmly, stepping aside to let him in. She noticed how tense his shoulders were, how his hands fidgeted with the straps of his bag. Something was weighing on him, and she intended to help. They sat down at the kitchen table, and Emma poured him a glass of water. "So, what's going on?" she asked gently. She didn't want to push him, only to give him space to open up. Luke took a deep breath, staring into his glass as though it held the answers. It's school. I don't know if I'm ready for what's coming," he admitted finally, his voice small. Vulnerable. Emma reached across the table, giving his hand a reassuring squeeze. "Hey, it's okay. You don't have to have everything figured out right now. Just talking about it is the first step," she said. She could see the tension slowly releasing from his body. The first flicker of relief in his eyes. Luke hesitated, then spoke, voice trembling slightly. "It's the leadership project. Everyone's going to be paired up, and I'm worried I'll mess up. I've never done anything like this before. I don't want to disappoint anyone." Emma nodded, understanding exactly how he felt. She remembered her own fears in similar situations, the pressure, the self-doubt, the fear of failing in front of people who expected the best. "You know," she began, choosing her words carefully, "everyone feels that way at some point. It's normal to be nervous. The important thing is to take it one step at a time and trust yourself." Luke looked at her, searching for a hint that she truly believed it. She smiled softly. "I do, and I can help you. We can work on this together if you want." His eyes widened slightly, relief washing over his face. "Really? You'd do that?" he asked, a mixture of surprise and gratitude in his voice. Emma nodded. "Of course. You're not alone in this, Luke. We'll figure it out together." She could see the weight lifting from his shoulders already, the beginnings of confidence returning. They spent the next hour going over the project. Emma guided him patiently, asking questions, offering suggestions, and helping him organize his thoughts. Luke started to relax, laughing softly at a joke Emma made about their shared struggles with teamwork back in her school days. The tension in the room shifted from anxiety to focus, from doubt to collaboration. Emma felt a warmth in her chest, a mix of pride and affection. Watching him slowly regain his confidence, as the rain continued to fall outside. Luke leaned back in his chair, a small but genuine smile on his face. "Thanks, Emma," he said quietly. "I don't think I could have done this alone." She reached out, ruffling his hair playfully, and said, "You could have. But it's always better to have someone in your corner." For a moment, they sat in silence, the rain outside creating a cocoon of safety and calm around them. Emma realized how much this moment meant, not just for Luke, but for herself too. Being able to guide someone, to be a source of support and encouragement, reminded her of the bonds that really mattered in life, the quiet, everyday acts of care that built trust and love. Just as they were wrapping up, Luke's phone buzzed with a message. He glanced at it, then back at Emma, hesitation in his eyes. "It's my friend. I think they want to talk about the project too. I guess I'll go meet them," he said. Emma nodded, giving him an encouraging smile. "Go on, you're ready? Just remember what we talked about." As Luke walked to the door, Emma called after him, "And remember, anytime you feel unsure, you know where to find me." He turned, smiled, and nodded, a newfound determination in his step as he left the house. Emma closed the door behind him and leaned against it, a mixture of relief and pride washing over her. Today had been the first step, a small victory, but a meaningful one. She realized that these moments of trust, guidance, and emotional connection were the true tests of love and care. The storm outside had not stopped Luke, nor had it stopped her from being there for him. And as she watched the rain taper off, she knew that together they could face whatever challenges came next. Little did she know, though, that this project was only the beginning. The struggles, the challenges, and the moments that would test both of their patience, courage, and trust were still ahead. But for now, this small victory, this quiet connection between them, was enough to spark hope. Emma smiled to herself, feeling that comforting warmth of knowing she had truly made a difference today. The next morning, Emma awoke to the soft glow of sunlight streaming through the curtains. She made herself a cup of coffee, thinking about yesterday's session with Luke, even though it had been a small victory. She knew the real challenge was still ahead. The project deadline was approaching, and she could sense Luke's nervousness was only part of the picture. His confidence was growing, but there were deeper worries he hadn't voiced yet. And Emma wanted to make sure he felt supported through all of it. By late morning, Luke arrived, his school bag heavier than usual, his expression a mixture of determination and doubt. He waved shyly at Emma as she opened the door, and she noticed immediately that his shoulders were less tense than the day before. "Morning, Luke," she said, smiling warmly. "Ready for round 2? Luke nodded, stepping inside. "Yeah, I think so. I've been thinking a lot about what we talked about yesterday. I tried to outline some ideas last night, but I'm still not sure if they're good enough." Emma gestured for him to sit at the kitchen table. "Let's see them. Remember, there's no such thing as a bad idea when you're just brainstorming. The goal is to explore, to find what works, not to judge yourself." She watched him pull out his notebook and papers, his pencil tapping nervously against the desk. The familiar sight of a young mind, struggling but eager to grow, filled her with empathy and determination. They dove straight into his ideas. Luke explained his thoughts hesitantly at first, stumbling over his words as he tried to articulate his vision. Emma listened carefully, asking gentle questions and offering suggestions that encouraged him to think critically without feeling pressured. Slowly, his voice gained confidence, and he started expanding on concepts he hadn't even considered before. "I never thought about combining the research with a short presentation," he said suddenly, eyes lighting up. "I think that could work." Emma smiled, heartened by his excitement. "Exactly. See? You're already thinking creatively. That's exactly what this project needs." They continued working, breaking the project into manageable parts, assigning tasks, and creating a realistic timeline. Emma encouraged Luke to visualize the presentation, helping him picture himself speaking in front of the class with calm and clarity. Each small step seemed to lift the weight of fear from his shoulders. After a while, they took a break, sitting side by the window as the rain from the previous day had left the air crisp and fresh. Luke stared outside, his mind clearly still processing everything they had discussed. "Emma," he said after a moment, his voice softer, almost hesitant, "can I ask you something?" "Of course," Emma replied, turning to face him. "Do you ever get scared before something important? Like, really scared?" Emma laughed softly, remembering her own childhood and teenage fears. "All the time," she admitted. "Even adults get scared, Luke. It's normal. Fear doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you care, and that's not a bad thing at all." Luke nodded slowly, as if her words were slowly sinking in. "I guess I just don't want to mess this up. I don't want anyone to be disappointed in me." "You're already doing great," Emma said firmly, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. And even if things don't go perfectly, it's not the end of the world. What matters is that you try your best and learn along the way. That's what really counts. The afternoon passed in a blur of activity. They rehearsed different parts of the presentation, practiced speaking clearly, and organized visual aids. Luke stumbled a few times, but Emma encouraged him to keep going, reminding him that mistakes were part of learning. Each correction was gentle, constructive, and empowering, helping him gain confidence rather than diminish it. As the day drew to a close, Luke leaned back in his chair, a tired but satisfied smile on his face. "Thanks, Emma," he said quietly. I don't know, like I can actually do this now. I feel prepared." Emma's chest warmed at the sight of his relief and pride. "I'm glad, Luke. You've worked hard and you've grown a lot in just a short time. Remember, confidence comes from preparation and practice, and you're doing both." They sat in silence for a few moments, the calm feeling settling between them like a soft blanket. Emma realized that moments like this, quiet, unremarkable on the surface, yet deeply significant, were the ones that truly mattered. She wasn't just helping Luke with a school project. She was helping him learn resilience, patience, and self-belief. These were lessons that would extend far beyond the classroom, just as Luke was packing up his things to leave. He hesitated at the door, looking back at Emma with an expression she couldn't quite read. "Emma, can I ask one more thing?" "Always," she replied, smiling. I don't really have anyone else to talk to about this stuff. Can I come over tomorrow too? I mean, only if you're free." Emma felt a rush of affection and responsibility. "Of course, Luke. I'll be here. We'll figure it out together." As he stepped out into the evening, Emma closed the door and exhaled slowly. Today had been another victory, a bigger one than yesterday. She knew that the project wasn't over and the real test would come in front of his classmates. But she also knew that Luke had grown more in these 2 days than he had in weeks on his own. The seed of confidence had been planted, nurtured with patience and care. And now it was starting to bloom. Later that night, Emma reflected on the day. She thought about how quickly trust and support could transform someone's outlook. Luke had come to her in a moment of uncertainty, seeking guidance, and together they had turned fear into readiness. It reminded her that life's challenges weren't just obstacles, they were opportunities to grow, to connect, and to make a difference. She made a mental note to remind herself tomorrow to encourage him not just academically, but emotionally as well. Because preparation wasn't just about knowing the material. It was about believing in yourself and learning to stand tall, even when fear tried to hold you back. Emma smiled softly, feeling the quiet satisfaction of a day well spent, and the anticipation of continuing this journey tomorrow. Little did they know, the next day would bring unexpected challenges and moments of revelation that would test both of their courage and trust even further. But for now, Emma allowed herself to bask in the success of another small victory, knowing that this journey, while demanding, was shaping something far greater than a school project. It was shaping confidence, resilience, and the bonds of trust that would last a lifetime. The next morning, Emma woke with a sense of purpose. Today was the day of Luke's presentation, and while she felt nervous for him, she also felt proud. After breakfast, she checked her phone. No messages yet from Luke, but she knew he would arrive on time. She prepared the kitchen table as their practice space, laying out his notes, slides, and visual aids so that nothing would be overlooked. When Luke arrived, he looked more confident than yesterday. His eyes held a spark that had been absent before. He straightened his backpack straps, took a deep breath, and smiled. "Morning, Emma," he said. I think I'm ready today." Emma's heart warmed. "I'm so glad to hear that, Luke. And remember, being ready doesn't mean being perfect. Just do your best and show what you've learned." They went over his notes one last time, practicing key points and speaking clearly. Emma reminded him to make eye contact, pause when needed, and breathe. Luke repeated the lines carefully, sometimes stumbling but always correcting himself with gentle determination. With each repetition, his confidence grew. and Emma could see his anxiety melting away. By late morning, they decided it was time to do a full run-through. Luke stood in front of the table as if it were his classroom stage. Emma acted as an audience, nodding and smiling encouragingly. Luke began speaking slowly at first, then with more rhythm, his voice steady and clear. He presented his ideas, explained his reasoning, and even added small examples that Emma hadn't expected. Her smile grew wider with each passing minute. "You're doing amazing," Emma whispered when he paused to catch his breath. "Keep going. You're ready for the real thing." Luke took her words to heart. By the time they finished the practice, he was practically beaming. Emma could see that the fear that had weighed so heavily on him just 2 days ago was replaced by pride and a sense of accomplishment. He had prepared, practiced, and grown, and it showed. After lunch, they packed his materials, ready for school. On the way there, Luke talked animatedly about his classmates, the order of presentations, and even little jokes he wanted to make. Emma listened, laughing at his enthusiasm, feeling a mix of relief and admiration. The transformation in such a short time was remarkable, and it filled her with joy to witness it. At the school, Luke's teacher greeted them warmly. "Emma, it's wonderful to see you helping Luke. He's been working so hard on this project." Emma smiled. "Thank you. He's put in a lot of effort. I think he's ready." Luke clutched his notebook and visual aids tightly as he walked to the front of the classroom. He turned to look back at Emma one last time, and she gave him a reassuring nod. "You've got this." She mouthed silently. As Luke began his presentation, Emma watched from the back of the classroom. His voice was strong, confident, and clear. He spoke naturally, made eye contact with his peers, explained his ideas in a way that showed understanding and thoughtfulness. Emma felt a lump in her throat as pride swelled inside her. He had done it. He had overcome his fear and doubts, and he was shining. During the Q&A session, his classmates asked questions, and Luke responded without hesitation. When he didn't know an answer, he admitted it honestly and explained how he would find out. Emma felt her admiration deepen. This was more than a project. He was a lesson in integrity, courage, and resilience. When the presentation ended, the teacher clapped enthusiastically. "Excellent work, Luke. That was impressive." Luke's classmates followed with applause, and Emma could see him beam with satisfaction. He had not only succeeded, but had done so with grace and confidence. After class, Luke ran up to Emma, his face glowing. "Emma, I did it. I really did it." Emma hugged him tightly. "I knew you could, Luke. I told you, you just needed to believe in yourself." He pulled back slightly, his eyes shining. "I couldn't have done it without you. You helped me more than anyone else could." "Thank you." Emma felt tears prick her eyes, but she smiled, brushing them away. "You did all the hard work, Luke. I just guided you a little. This success is yours." They walked home together, chatting excitedly about the day, the projects, and even planning what they could work on next. Emma realized that the bond between them had strengthened immensely over the past few days. It wasn't just about the project anymore. It was about trust, support, and shared triumph. Once they were home, Luke took a moment to reflect. "You know, Emma, I was so scared at first. I didn't think I could do it. But now I feel different. I feel like I can handle things I didn't think I could." Emma nodded, proud of his insight. That's what happens when you face your fears and prepare yourself. You discover your strength. The afternoon sun streamed through the window as they sat quietly for a moment, both feeling the satisfaction of accomplishment. Emma realized that moments like these, quiet, small, yet profound, were the ones that defined life. Helping Luke wasn't just about a project. It was about nurturing confidence, resilience, and a sense of self-worth that would last far beyond these school days. As the evening approached, Luke packed his things to leave, glancing back at Emma with gratitude. "I'll see you tomorrow, right?" he asked. "Absolutely," Emma replied. "We'll keep growing together." After he left, Emma sat down, reflecting on the journey they had shared over the past few days. She had guided him through fear, doubt, and nervousness, helping him emerge stronger, more confident, and proud of himself. It reminded her that life's small victories often held the most meaning, especially when achieved with support, patience, and belief in one another. Emma smiled softly to herself, knowing that while this chapter was ending, the journey for Luke and for their bond was only beginning. The confidence he had gained, the lessons he had learned, and the trust they had built would guide him through many more challenges in life. And for Emma, witnessing this growth and being part of it was a reward beyond measure. That night, she reflected on the power of guidance and mentorship, realizing that the true gift she had given Luke wasn't just help with a project was faith in himself, and the joy of seeing him succeed, of watching him conquer fear, was a feeling that would stay with her forever, quietly shaping her own sense of purpose and fulfillment. Emma knew one thing for sure. Helping someone believe in themselves was one of the most powerful and beautiful experiences life could offer, and she would continue to offer that gift day by day, project by project, helping others discover the strength they never knew they had.